Hey everyone, welcome to the Anchor of the Week. My name is Zach.
And I'm Courtney, and we're an initiative of Hope and Anchor Community Church in London.
Each week we'll discuss different topics relevant to faith and Christianity in today's culture.
We're here to build a space for the church to share our experiences and challenge one another to grow in living a life like Jesus.
Okay guys, welcome to another episode of our podcast.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, good to be here. If you're watching on YouTube, you will have seen our lovely guest, Sinem. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, name is Sinem Karatal. I run a coffee roasters in Angel.
Which is where we are right now.
Yes, we are here. Mm-hmm. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great. So we're actually starting a new series.
And we're really excited about it. Basically, the general thing is what motivates us as a society. And I think it's a very broad topic, but a very good topic because it's one of those things where we definitely, I think it's subconscious, you know what I mean? I don't think everyone wakes up every day and goes, okay, this is what's motivating me to get up, or this is what's motivating me to make this decision, or to keep a job, or to quit a job, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. You're kicking off our series. Yeah.
Yep.
That is actually quite exciting.
Yes.
And quite flattering as well, so thank you.
Yeah. I have been particularly buzzing for this.
Yeah.
Sinem is Turkish, so we have a little bit of connection that way, I guess, if that's the right word to use.
Yeah.
So I've been super buzzing for this. But let's get stuck in a little bit.
Yes.
Just give us a little bit of background into kind of, well, obviously we're in your coffee shop, background onto kind of your family background, how you moved here, how you started this. Give us a little intro.
So I've been here for over 30 years, in the United Kingdom over 30 years. My family are political refugees that moved here in 1989.
Cool.
And since then, we've built a life here, which I'll probably touch up on.
Yeah, great. No, we will, yeah.
I was born in Istanbul. My parents met in Istanbul. They got married and brought me over afterwards. And since then, we've built businesses, homes, multiple times in London, and London's now our home. Dad's a big entrepreneur. I say big. He's just a very excited entrepreneur.
Love it.
He is. He just keeps going. He just keeps rolling.
That's great.
And then me and my brother have pretty much followed suit. I did after 12 years of teaching. I'm a primary school teacher. Given that up, I give that up to do this.
Wow.
And here I am. I'm sitting in my mum's old laundrette, which she ran for about 12 years.
Wow.
And then after the 12 years, after a little bit of a gap, me giving up teaching, here I am. I've set it all up.
Wow.
That's incredible.
See how it goes.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things is just seeing how, like, this is such a family line for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact that, like, if you guys are in Angel, we're in Chapel Market, by the way, it's Chapel Market Roastery. Give the full plug. If you're here, please stop by. But it does, like, feel like you're coming home, you know, and you can feel that when you're in. And I know I've talked to you about this before, like, this is part of the reason why you did this, right?
Yeah.
One of the things you could say that motivated you, you
Yeah.
know, to put your coffee shop here is because of that community aspect,
It was
right?
so familiar. It's so, like, the people are familiar, the community's familiar, like, the crazy people are familiar. Like, everyone has their crazies, and Chapel Market has its own, and they're all familiar too. It's just, so, we, like, when I come here, it doesn't feel like going to work. A, because I love what I do. I love running a business. I love the challenges. And secondly, because I've been coming here for so long, it just doesn't feel like a hassle. It doesn't feel very something specific, orientated, a challenge I have to do for the next step of my life. This is it. This is what I've created to come to.
Just touch on the, you said you did teaching for 12 years, is that right? Yeah. What made you want to shift the change then? What kind of led you to that?
Quite a few things. Teaching has its own challenges, especially in the United Kingdom. I think we are one of the most, I'm going to say monitored, but we're the most streamed. There's a lot of intervention. In my opinion, not enough trust is given on the teacher itself with the children it's teaching, and that is taken away through the system rather than any other way. And when I was teaching, it just, it felt like mine, but it didn't feel like mine. Like the kids are amazing, you enjoy the job, but it was what came around the job that sort of put pressure on it, and it tired me. It tired me, and then after a while I thought the hours I put into teaching, I wanted to put into my own space, my own business. I won't lose teaching. I go back to it whenever I try teaching people now.
Yeah, well, you talked about, well, we were just having a conversation before. Do you want to explain what, like, your little things that you have set up in here? Like, I mean, the writing was...
Yeah, so we have a writing group here, a writing workshop. And in the writing workshop, just means people come in, sit down, write whatever they want, whatever they've got on their mind, a story, a novel. I'm writing a novel.
Oh, wow.
Did I know that? I don't know.
That's cool.
I'm writing a period romance.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so it starts in the south of Turkey, travels to Istanbul, and will eventually end in London. So it's just Turkey's political history with loads of gushy love in it, but just can't avoid it. I love it. And
that's cool.
So a bit selfishly, I set up a writing group about 2 years ago, and I used to run them in the British Library. Not linked to the British Library, but you've got that massive book wall.
Yeah.
You've got the environment. You've got everyone sitting. So I used to bring people together. Now that I've opened this space, I created it so people can come here. Alongside the writing, we want to do other things like drawing and sculpturing and coffee tasting, and sort of that's where the teaching comes in. Me going, hush, absolute silent, you're writing, this is the space. It's just creating environments, and that's what teachers do anyway. Your first thing as a teacher is you make the space accommodate children. I've just done it a little differently here to accommodate anyone, coffee lovers and maybe learners. And if I can add something to someone,
there you go.
I got it.
Yeah. And I think definitely from this, like, community is something that definitely motivates you.
Definitely.
You know? Do you want to kind of dive into that a little bit?
Yes.
And do you think that is something that other people share as well? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't think a lot of people know that they're in a community till they actively do something for a community. Because everyone's a part of a community, are they not?
That's true.
Yeah,
and if you want to make a change, and if you want to make a change, that's when you actively seek people to expand, to see. But if you're not doing that, you're in groups of people that you find yourself in socializing, learning. So, like, schools are institutions, but they're essentially groups of people. Yeah. You find yourself there. If you want to make a change, if you have something and you're passionate about something and you're going to go out, you create that environment and you bring those people together. For Chapel Market Roastery, the community idea for me is everything. We've been on this street since I was about 11 with various businesses, and one of the biggest thing is even me just standing outside, saying hello to people, the marketmen, just talking to them. How's their day been? How's this been? I've been gone for I haven't been on this market, living here or working here for about 15 years. But even coming back for the last 8 months, I can stand there and just talk to anyone. I can talk to anyone naturally anyway, but then just because it's the marketman, I just go, hey! And then break into a conversation and bringing those people together, bringing the other businesses together for a collective. The first thing I did when I stepped foot was just literally go around the retailers and say, hi, I have an incentive for this street. I'm going to approach the council. Do you agree with me? Are you on my side? Are you going to support me? And I did that months ago, and I'm in the process of speaking to the council to see if we can do anything better for here. And that's not selfishly for me. That's selfishly for everyone on this street. If you're just walking down it, if you're going to businesses, if you shop on the street, bringing people together doesn't necessarily mean a writing group. Bringing people together means their environment. I'm a part of their environment. What I add to it, I think is good. If I can add to it, I think I'm in the right direction. That's it.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think, how much do you think your background had an influence on this kind of community? Because, obviously in Turkey, it's very much
based.
People, yeah. So, do you think that's kind of rolled onto a lot of who you are today?
We're also yes. I have 75 first cousins.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
Yeah. So we're a big family.
Goodness gracious.
Being in big
What is
groups of people.
Christmas like? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
They don't celebrate Christmas, right?
We don't
No.
celebrate. We don't celebrate Christmas, but Christmas is a good day to bring everyone together for us here.
There you
So
go.
I've done Christmas dinner for I
Brilliant.
say all the cousins, but the cousins live in here, and like, you don't speak to every single one of them with the age, like commonalities amongst all of them is
Right.
very rare. So there's groups of us, especially the ones that were raised here, we can sit down and have hours of conversations.
Yeah.
We'd get them together and we'd do things together. The community, the Turkish community, I think I can step into a Turkish, I'm going to say community, but I've said it too many times, so I'm going to say a Turkish.
Group or-
We're gonna find
Group.
synonyms.
A social,
Yeah.
it's like a social setting, or we have our own communities.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's
It's
fine.
unavoidable. It's totally
It's the only word.
Exactly.
So like they do locations. They'll have places we can go
Wow.
to. They'll have religious spots that we can go to. Not necessarily not just for religion, but we'll have these spaces where we can get together. But because we are quite generally crowded people, going into a crowd was never a fear.
Yeah.
We didn't shy of it. You're young, you can walk, go on, go meet people. You're let loose.
Yeah.
And in Turkey, that is it. You're one child you're never just, what was it they say? A child's never reared by a person but by a village kind of mentality. So we have that. I've got that quote a little wrong, but you know what I mean.
But
You know what? It translates in my
Yeah.
brain.
There you go.
So
Good.
you're
Yeah.
fine.
that's great. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's tackle the actual big question
Go on.
for the podcast. Well, obviously, this is the topic, kind of, and I think you've touched on a lot of it as well.
Yeah.
But just to ask you straight up,
Go
like,
on.
what is kind of your motivation? Kind of like, what makes you get up in the morning? What makes you come here to do this work that run the coffee shop? What's your drive?
What's my drive?
for today? Yeah.
My drive is the little things. I met him. So I lived in Turkey for 3 years. When I was 25, I moved out there, had a job, worked hard, either way. Went into this job, and in this job, there's this man. He was always happy. He was always full of life. And I said to him one day, I said, how do you do it? And he basically went, and nothing felt more true as than what he said then.
Mm-hmm.
He went, I have little goals, right? And he said, today my goal is to do this, something small. And he'd do it. On one particular day, we were going for lunch with him, and he saw this woman a woman in a gorgeous dress, and he stopped the woman and he went, where'd you get your dress from? I'd really like to get that for my wife. And we literally spent an hour looking for that dress. And his goal at that moment was that, but he was satisfied, he was happy, it was small. Like, he was also very successful in the bigger things. He had a family home, he was very educated, but he said the way he got to the bigger things was getting the smaller things and the small drives right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Since then, I followed suit. If I make my bed every morning for my first completion.
Yeah.
Once I've made that bed, I know that I've had a successful thing done in my day.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's just the small things, making sure I walk to places, making sure I get to speak to at least one friend via message or on the phone because I love them and want to feel loved. Like it's a transaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the thing that motivates me is just knowing that even if I have challenges, that I can do something small for myself and someone I love every day. And you just lead on to the bigger things quite naturally, I think.
Yeah. So the whole aspect of not even, because I think, I mean, I don't want to like generalize for like everyone, but when you look at the big things or the big obstacles or goals or trials or whatever, like that you might have in front of you, okay, we do face big things as humans, right? But from what you're saying, right, it's like not just only looking at that, because then you become overwhelmed and or unmotivated then, because honestly sometimes like you don't have the strength to overcome the super big things, you know.
You guys are in London at the moment. I was raised in London. The idea that I might not be able to buy a home in London is a massive thing. I don't have anywhere else to go to buy a home, somewhere cheaper, somewhere more. I want one here. That, I'd say about 7 years ago, would cause massive anxiety. Because it would be, I want a home here. This is my home. Why would I go anywhere else? I grew up here. And it was quite personal as well. So instead of, over time, it just sort of thought, let me do the small things and then it will get easier. But you're right, that anxiety can shut you down, can shut your self-esteem down. That's it.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
And this is what the small things do. It doesn't close me off to the bigger things, because I can feel a little satisfied, a little bit a day, rather than going, I'm a complete failure, because I've looked at this big picture in front of me and gone, I can never have it. That's sort of vision.
Yeah.
So if you're contemplating my life right now.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Cool. Sorry. It's interesting that you're relating kind of, like you say, small goals and things, and it's completion and it's like getting things done. Like, does that relate to like productivity at all, would you say? Or like, would you say your drive comes from those small tasks being ticked off? Or is it more just the fact that you're, I don't know, just focusing on smaller perspective?
Well, productivity is the doing part of it. You've got these small little things that you need to achieve every day. Just, you need to eat, you need to have this, you have small things that you need to do for yourself and for work. But it's a bit of both. So when I say both, it's also the emotional aspect of it. The gratification from something small can give you the courage to do something just slightly bigger. But what it is, I think it grows. Like, I visualize it growing. And when I start something, I'm always okay for it to start slow, and for me to be a little dumbfounded, for me to be completely wrong. I've learned to give myself that piece of grace and go, you'll get there. And as the little things that build that esteem, that self-esteem happen, everything else doesn't seem so frightening or panicky, or if it goes wrong, it doesn't feel like such a big failure. Because you've got those little things that can add to you personally, emotionally and productivity wise.
Is this because you talked about 7 years ago? That was like a breaking point, would you say? Or like, what was your state of mind before that then? Because it feels like since this conversation with this guy about the small tasks, like, what was your kind of perspective then? What was your drive then, so to speak? Obviously, it was the bigger picture, but
it's the bigger picture. It's sort of looking for gratification in things that I couldn't have achieved, or there was. You do have some sort of comparison. You're living in a world where there's loads of people around you, and the comparison kicks in, and not everyone starts life in the same place. Some they don't. They don't.
You're right.
Financially, economically, geographically, I won't have the same life as someone who's born in Germany. Even if you say a Turkish Kurdish person that was born in Germany, we've got exactly the same background, but we'll start from different places. On the offset, our education's different. It's our values are different. They're the same, but yet still different. So, 7 years ago, I would have wanted the bigger things a lot quicker. A lot quicker.
So quicker, like, do you think that's part of what the struggle was? Like, because I think we tend to want things straight away, obviously. So do you think that was playing a part in what didn't satisfy? Or
yeah, it did. It plays a massive part in it. It was the fact that I couldn't achieve some of the things that I wanted there and now. Played a massive part of my self-confidence. Because it was, I want it, because you want a bar of chocolate, you go to the chocolate, you've got it, it's done, it's there. But if you want, I don't know, you want to graduate, you want a profession, that's not going to happen overnight. It's going to have its struggles, it's going to have its challenges. to want it straight away or to wish time away. I wished a lot of time away when I was younger.
Wow.
I wish I was at there. I wish I was doing this, and got there quicker. And then I look back and go, why did I? At the age of 21, there were a load of things I did when I was 21 that I loved doing there and then. And I can reminisce about them now. But then I didn't enjoy it in the moment as I should, because then I was more worried about what I couldn't have rather than what I did have at the moment.
And what leads to that? Like, what leads to those thoughts? Why are we always chasing that? Like, because I can definitely relate to this myself. Why do you think you were? Was it your environment? Was it the people you grew up with? Is it culture? I don't
Everything.
know.
Expectations. It's external expectations and self expectations.
Wow.
A child, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
A child is working with children. So I worked with children between the ages of 3 and 7 predominantly, and they grow up to be two people's, most families, two people's, or extended, like maybe less, maybe more. Generally, I don't want to discriminate.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they grow up being someone's total focus, and at that age, you will not meet a more egoistic person than a 3-year-old little girl. Oh my good Lord. The stories they've got to tell. And you'll sit there and you give them your full focus, and you were there for your you were that for your family, and you too. And at that point, you got something to say, those people will stop and they'll listen to you, right? And then you grow up, and then when I say grow up, and then what you do is you're thrown into this classroom where you go, hold on, there's one adult and I have to share the attention, right? And then we sort of get taught that, not that it is bad, but we get taught that we're not the center of everybody's world. And even though into our teenagers, that will still continue. Your parents are there, they're solid. For most lucky people, they're there and they're solid, and they support you. And then you go to university, and then no one gives a toss about you, do they? To a certain extent. You've got people away on the phone, and then some people move countries for different things. They have ambitions. And my point is, we are taught to be egoistic on the offset. We have to unlearn that.
Wow.
And unlearning that, before we unlearn that, we set ourselves those expectations. In this whole world, I'm not the most important thing in this whole world. I'm not.
Yeah.
But if you ask me, when me and my partner are sitting down on the sofa having a meal, we don't have a table.
I have a table and I still choose sofa, so it's okay.
I was gonna say, oh my God. But if you sit on the sofa and having the meal, I like to feel that I'm his most important person and he's my most important person.
Yeah.
But that's a relationship I built, right?
Sure.
But up until you build that relationship, your expectation of a perfect relationship may be that scene, but you've got that expectation, but you haven't worked for it, and everything can feel like a failure before you get there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
No, completely.
So to answer your question.
Yeah, I mean, you've answered.
I've answered it, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Just, I forgot your question.
I mean, I think your answer is just ego and egotistic.
Yeah.
Not in like the sense that you're like very full of yourself, but more just you're focused on yourself.
Emotionally egoistic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You're not expecting everybody to stop and give you all of that, the queen treatment or the king, but you do sort of think, I want this for myself. I deserve this. And you think that for quite a few years. But then what happens
a dangerous word.
Exactly. And then when the opposite happens, you sort of think, wait, I don't deserve this. And then it becomes, it's not a thought, it's an emotion. And those, I think adults are just kids that are trying to play adult most of the time.
Yeah, well, I agree with that actually.
Our crew was nodding, by the way. I got a thumbs up.
Little shout out.
Not that it's a bad thing.
No, you're right.
It's real. Yeah.
Sinem, you're right. Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say this is really interesting because way at the beginning of the conversation, we were talking about community.
Yeah.
And I was like, I wonder what she thinks is like, I don't want to say the enemy of community or one of the biggest like roadblocks of community.
Yeah.
Do you think it is like this emotional egotism? in that sense?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because if I'm a part of a community, I've stepped away from communities for this reason. If I'm a part of a community, I'd like to be accepted the way I am, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's not egotism. If you're selfish and taking from people and not giving back, that's harmful to a community. Because you're exploiting resources. I'm going to elaborate, but you're exploiting resources that are potentially for everyone.
Yeah.
The care, the affection, the conversation, the social side of it. Maybe other benefits that some communities have, because in a community you look out for each other, right?
Yeah.
If you're going in there and taking and not giving back, you'll kill it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
But the other side of it is, if you're stepping into a community and you're not loved the way you are and you're pushed to be a certain way to be in that community, that is also harmful. Because it's not then a community, it's more of a collection of people that just like agreeing with each other.
Right. That's good. That's good. So you got a few mic drops.
That's true.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry.
But it's true. I've been in communities.
Yeah.
And I've stepped away from them.
Mm-hmm.
And I've gone, I love you, but I share your values. But if you can't, molding people is different. Teaching people is different.
Yeah.
A teacher doesn't, the thing about my biggest problem with the Turkish educational system was they make you memorize things. They tell you this is the truth and the only way the truth. Through teaching little children, you think about growth mindset. And the growth mindset is making those mistakes, is an adapting period to anything you do. And each community should be open to that. If someone wants to come and sit with me every day on that chair and not talk to me, they can do that. That's fine. They have the space to do that.
Yeah.
As long as they feel safe that they can. And that's a key word in a community. If you don't feel safe, it's not your community. Step away.
Great. So amazing answer so far. I do want to talk now. I didn't say I would specifically bring this up, but I'm going to bring this up. It's important to me.
Go on.
Sinem, I actually haven't met, I don't think I come across as many people like yourself. I think just in the sense that real heart for community. I know there's people out there, but London is very I guess egotistic, and it's very kind of focused on yourself, wherever you're going, blah, blah, blah. I was like that to a certain degree as well before I came here. I think now I'm going through this journey in my faith and in my kind of community at church.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's helped me realign my values a lot. Has faith been a big part of your life at all? I mean, I know in Turkey, obviously, it's a very big deal over there. Has that played any role for you? What are you thinking in that terms?
Faith, I think plays a big part in my life, but I don't practice.
Okay.
It plays a big part in my life. So I'm not Sunni, and we come from a country that is Muslim.
Yeah.
And a lot of its values are linked back to religion, whether directly or indirectly. Some of them are beautiful. Some of them I don't agree with. In a sort of, I'm going to say a humane way, but the only reason I don't agree with it in a humane way is because another human has forced or pressured somebody else to act in a certain way. That's the only thing I disagree with religion. If anyone can talk to me about religion, I'll share mine. I'll be all ears for anything. But to make me feel inadequate within my own religion is no one's business. And that's the only way you can have peace, whether you have a faith or you don't.
Right. So, do you want to...
Go on.
No, were you going to say more? Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No.
Crack on.
So, my even vocabulary-wise in Turkish, you say words, which again happens in English as well, because it goes back to, there's a massive link to, I'm guessing, the Bible. Am I getting this correct?
Yeah, the Bible,
Yeah. No, I'm just sort of thinking England,
Yeah, Church of England, yes.
So, there's a lot of, like, even in my day-to-day vocabulary, it's there. And I like that side of it. I like that it influences it. But in terms of practice, my practice is a little different. Good.
Yeah, well, I just wanted you to, I'm asking if you wouldn't mind just elaborating a little bit. Like, what is your...
Religion?
Yeah, religion and beliefs, I guess.
Yeah.
I think it all kind of plays a part, like, way of life. Because I would say mine is a relationship more than, like, a religion, so to speak. I would say it's bigger than just, like... I relate religion a lot more with, like, culture and tradition.
Yeah.
And structure.
Yeah, structure. Yes,
Yeah.
Structure. That's the word I was looking for. So, whereas I would say like my faith is very much like it's me and God. It's a relationship.
Isn't that what's beautiful about that? It's between you and God.
Yeah.
I don't have a say in what your faith is, because it's between you and the one you believe in.
Sure. Yeah. So, talk to me about what your religion is.
We are Alevis.
Sorry, say it.
Alevis.
Alevis. Okay, I haven't actually heard that before. Have you heard that before?
Yes, but from her. So.
Great. Okay.
There we
go. I'm sure there's people like me out there. Do you mind?
Yeah. So historically there's a couple of theories. There's one that says we derive from light and we go to light. So we essentially I have friends who have looked into this really, really deeply. So one side of it is that we are souls that live in bodies, and God, this is difficult. More difficult than I thought of it.
Yeah,
right.
Just.
So I'm going to say it generally, because the specifics, I don't want to get them wrong.
Mm-hmm.
That's
but
totally.
them is historically there's a lot of arguments about how Alevism began, but I will only speak about my Alevism because this is what was passed on to me.
Yeah.
We are argued to be assimilated into Islam through forcibly over the years historically, but with this assimilation, it looks like it happens to be that we are in protest of Sunnism, and the reason why we're in protest is Prophet Ali, not Prophet Ali, Hazrat Ali, so Prophet Muhammad's son-in-law Ali, right?
Okay. Yep.
I think he's in the Bible as well. Don't quote me on this. It might be something that you guys go away and have a look at. But
we love homework.
Yeah. Do it. He gets killed within one of the battles in Islam, and the way he gets killed is when he has his head on the forehead, which would essentially be during namaz. So it's little things. We don't put our forehead on the ground when we pray, because we believe that he shouldn't have been killed. We believe that he's Prophet Muhammad's most devoted, I guess, person at the time. Mm-hmm. Also his son-in-law. And in that sort of a stance, there's a few things that we do practice-wise that are different from Sunnis. We believe we're assimilated in that way. In terms of the way we pray, we have gem houses, and in the gem houses you go in, very similar to Sufis. You are greeted by the person leading it, and you go into what the dervishes would do, but we do differently. Mm-hmm. Swirling. You will turn, and there's particular dance and rhythms and songs that go along with it. Songs that are rooted historically, songs that there's evidence that it's existed before but passed on from one artist to the next, that completely repeated itself.
Yeah.
We talk in we live our religion in the language we talk in. We believe it's important to understand. We believe in the Quran, but we don't follow everything within it.
Okay.
We believe in Prophet Muhammad. We follow Ali. Some Alevis live it differently within different countries, and even within ourselves, within the Turkish community, there's a split. So the other side of it is we believe that Aloism derives from the light, and we go to the light. In prayer, you are genderless. Your soul enters the prayer. So when you're greeted into this prayer, you're genderless. So there's quite a nice sort of calm entry into faith. I don't practice so much, but I believe.
Okay.
So I believe it also as a way of life. In my day-to-day life, if I can stick to the values of my religion, I feel, I'm going to say I feel satisfied, but I'm not going to disrespect people that are practicing and say, oh, I've done this, I'm okay, kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, this is enough for me at this time of my life. I went into practicing later on in life. Our fasting times are different, so she fasts for them, and then there's a 3-day fast she can do for me and my brother. She does them for us. So it's actually, in terms of religion affecting my day-to-day life, it's actually quite nice. It's not at the forefront of my day every day, but
In the background a little bit.
it's in my life. It's there. Another thing that is really nice about Aloism is we don't necessarily follow a book. I'm going to say hearsay, but it's passed by one generation to the next.
Right.
Which also means we're quite conformed in the communities that you live within.
That's true.
My granddad told me about religion when he was alive. He was a reader. Reading is very big. Females being educated is very big. In our gem houses, men and women enter the house together. There's no separation. We sit on one side, but we all listen to the imam together. And my granddad, if I had a question, I'd ask him. In one example, it was a very busy month. It was during the month of Ramadan. I wasn't fasting. We do 3 fasts. We do one at the beginning, middle, and at the end. And it was a very busy month. Mum and Dad cuts alcohol. I normally do as well most months, most Ramadans. And that month, I wanted to do something, but I wanted to do it for myself. No one tells me to do anything.
Yeah.
My mum or dad have never turned around and said, this is for you to do. If I've ever gone with a question, they've answered it.
Nice.
So this particular month, I've gone, I've got a really busy month. There's going to be loads of social things. What do I do? Granddad basically says, drink the drink of the holy people. Stick to red wine this month. Right. Right.
Thanks,
And
Granddad. Yes.
He said if it's good enough for our prophets to drink.
Right.
I said, why not? He said, if you have to, that's what you do. And it wasn't him setting the rules. It wasn't this. He was respecting that I wanted to, that I was in a predicament, and I was going, what do I do for my faith? And he was like, well, here's a solution. It's quite refreshing, and I like my religion for that. Like I'd never been forced to believe into anything, and I don't think religion should be a part of that as well.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think it's so healthy when, no matter what you believe in, that there is space to have questions.
Yeah.
And I think that is something that is so, like, we forget sometimes, especially when it's more generational, or you were brought up in a certain culture or a certain tradition or a certain religion.
Yeah.
That it's just, it is what it is,
If you don't question it, do you really believe? That's my theory.
Yeah.
Because if you're told to do something in a certain way, you're just carrying on with particular habits that you've been told to practice, but you're practicing the habit, not the belief. The belief is assumed to be attached to the habit. So if you're not
practicing a habit or a belief, I'm sorry, one more time for the people in the back.
No, it's true. If you don't question it, and for my parents, it was healthy that I questioned it. It was healthy that they questioned it, and they never assumed that I'd let go of my personality. There've been times where they've been knocking their knees and going, oh, she shouldn't have done that. But
Having all our parents, it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I do. If you got to question it, you got to question everything you do. It's not yours if you don't. Yeah.
Did I feel like a lot of my Turkish friends, I don't think they had that family background, family support like that.
Yeah.
I think it's very different.
But
for a
it
lot
is
of people, isn't
background
it?
for us.
Yeah.
Like it is background. The fact that it's a part of, again, the religion to allow space for questions. Hence why you have religious leaders to go to ask questions. Isn't that like that for every like?
Yeah.
It should be.
It should be.
Yeah.
Yes.
You've got a religious leader. You've got to be questioning it, and that's it.
Yeah. How big of a role does that play for something like starting this business or kind of in fact, probably starting this business? Like, does that play a big role? Like, do you take a lot of their values and you try and put that into your everyday? What's the
values are rooted for me in my day to day.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily rooted within the business or the walls of this business.
Okay.
But if I can live within those values and I can uphold those values with pride, I would quite naturally bring it into anywhere I go, including this business. Now, I would, if someone comes in for a glass of water, it'll be at my loss to give them a glass of water. I'm obviously.
Yeah.
What I mean is
Business-wise.
Yeah.
business-wise, but my values, you don't let. If someone asks you for a glass of water, you give them a glass of water.
Yeah.
It's not something that water is nothing that anyone should ever have to beg or ask for. They want it, they've got it. You've got enough, share it. Done. That's it. So there's certain things that I do here that have just come through the religion, but I don't do it because of the religion. I do it because I feel it's the right thing to do as well.
And it's interesting to just, as you're talking, I'm kind of putting together a line, right?
Yeah.
So, like, we have a belief, and you decided, okay, like, yes, this is what I believe in, right? And then when you believe in something, then those values are instilled in you, right? And then as those values being instilled in you, they then all of a sudden outpour into everything else that you do, right?
Yeah.
And I think, to bring us back to our topic,
Yes.
motivation, right?
Yeah.
I think, that having values, whatever they are, wherever you're from, whatever circumstance or you find yourself in, having a belief or a value that then will motivate you in everything that you do, and it becomes then second nature.
Yeah.
I just think I'm just recapping.
This is where questioning comes into that as well. And this is where questioning comes into it. You question those values. And this is where being open-minded to other people's questions and other people's religions come into as well. If you're not wearing those, what was that called in English? The horse.
Like the blinders?
Blinders.
Oh,
the
nice.
horse. Yeah,
I
those
didn't know
blinders.
Scooby what that was.
So do you know, like,
Glad.
Yes.
if you're not wearing those blinders and just looking at the world from the perspective of one religion, no matter which one that is, but you carry the values in everything you do, it again makes it between you and the one you believe in, because you are those values. There's always going to be people that challenge anything you believe, right? You like the colour green, they're going to tell you blue. You like the colour yellow, they're going to tell you orange. And no,
No, you're right.
Get people to get two people to stand right in two corners and say, you're going to argue blue and you're going to argue green. Give them 15 minutes before they're actually arguing.
I mean, that could literally be our next podcast. I feel we could do that.
Do you see what I mean? Like, because you're giving someone a platform of. You're giggling.
Something set me off.
It'll be a good argument.
Yeah. No, it would.
You're giving someone a platform to project their own opinions. If their opinions are blind-sighted, that's a forceful opinion, no matter what it is. If blue says it's blue, right?
Yeah.
And orange will always be wrong.
Yeah.
And if you think that our communities are our platforms for our values and our opinions, if somebody thinks you're wrong, you will be wrong. But the best community is the one where you can be whatever you want on kind of your own. And then when you question it and when you find yourself, you'll be who you are. And that's what it should be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, that's great. Got to start wrapping this up slowly.
Yeah, I know. We told you to be like half hour.
Here we are. So
here we are.
let's finish with our last question.
Yeah.
Just a bit of a recap, if you like. 3 words to just best describe your motivation, your drive.
Small things.
We'll count that as one.
Yeah. Huh?
We'll count that as one. One word. As in,
One word.
Sorry, give us 3 words, but we'll count
That as one, yeah.
as one.
Well, yeah,
There
you
we
got
go.
it. Okay, got it. Right.
Hyphenate.
English, right.
No.
So, achieving those small things, right? Doing one thing that's going to get you gratitude. That's going to give you gratitude in the day, no matter what your hobbies and the things that you love are. And be kind to yourself. I know it's not a motivator, but in the long run, it's a massive factor in what motivates you, because it's your self-esteem. Do something for your self-esteem every day, something small.
Yeah.
That would be the 3 things that keep me going. Even if I'm having the worst of days, I would go, let me do something for me.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you so
Pleasure.
much. Çok sağ olun.
Siver.
That's very.
What he
Thank
said.
you. Thank
There
you
you
a
go.
lot. And thank you a lot. Yeah, actually, it is in Turkish. Anyway, yeah. So thank you
That
so
is
much.
actually a thing in Turkish. I got it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that.
Yes, as always, it's a privilege to talk to you. We just love your outlook and just
Thank
how
you.
you are open, but you also challenge.
Yeah.
And
we-
it's
yeah.
just good conversation. So I hope
Likewise.
that, yeah, of course.
Where's the space? You know, just a cheeky plug, like this coffee shop is in.
We are Chapel Market Roastery
Brilliant.
in Chapel Market.
Cool.
In London Angel.
Yes, my
Love
home
to
turf.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, if you are in London and you're listening to this, please stop by, say hi. As you can tell, she loves to chat. So,
Oh, I do.
Yes.
Oh, I do. Dangerously.
Yes, I know.
I'm going to put a password somewhere in the shop to turn around and say, if you don't want a long ass
Oh
conversation.
yeah.
Just do that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is the word.
the
That'd
word,
be
yeah.
such a funny sign.
Amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for
Thank
listening.
you so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for today's episode of The Anchor of the Week.
Make sure you follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and YouTube so you never miss an episode.
See you next time.